Me and my colleague are both are presenting the mental health of international students in Berlin. So now I am Vivek and he is my colleague Nok. So now today we are presenting the impact of housing insecurity and financial pressure on international students. So first of all, now we are giving introduction like Berlin is one of the Europe's leading destination for international students. Like every year's multi thousands of students are coming to Berlin for their bachelor's and master and other further studies. Rising housing cost and financial pressure are creating serious challenges. Like many of students don't have enough money for their housing, which is very common in like big cities like Berlin and Frankfurt, also Munich. International students often lack support, networks, and financial security. Like if someone is coming to Berlin and he is not know anyone because of the like from culture, language, and the new new city, the these stresses significantly affect mental health and academic performance. Like if they don't have any kind of pressure, then they perform better in academic. Otherwise, their mental health affected. They cannot focus on one thing. Now we are doing research problems. Housing insecurity and financial strains are increasing in Berlin. From recent report shows the housing insecurity in Berlin is increased by 15%, which is very highest in all compared to other cities. So students face difficulties finding affordable and from now the population is increasing, but housing space are decreasing because of the area coverage. Non-EU students must contain blocked account. Now EU government must uh, they EU government make rule for the international students like minimum amount blocked is 11,992, which is significant, but somehow it's very important for the students. Financial uncertainty contains anxiety, depression, and stress. So if student don't have part-time jobs, mini jobs, or full-time jobs, they don't have enough money to survive in the big cities. For research question and objectives, how do housing insecurity and financial pressure affect mental health? Examine the extent of the housing insecurity among international students. Analyze relationship between financial strain and psychological distress. Provide policy recommendation for universities and policymakers. Like these are questions we uh, put in, put in the Google form, and we uh, take survey from 5 to 6 students, and they also reply us and they share their experience with us. Theoretical framework, like framework use social determinants of health. So now my colleague is presenting theoretical framework.
Also, I think dependent variables such as anxiety, depression, and stress and burnout. So these various housing insecurity and financial pressures are those that contribute to the anxiety, depression, and other things that we are talking about. So this is the theoretical framework that we used. Can we please go to the next slide?
Yeah.
So our literature review. Okay, so actually the literature review that we use are research links to housing, Richard linked unstable housing with poor mental health. Now, these are various studies that have been made previously, not only this one, but based on various research that have been done with students, it really links to unstable mental health if students don't really have a good housing. Now, let me use myself as an example. Coming to Berlin, there were difficulties getting an accommodation. You have to move from here and other things. So, very most students are also facing this. So, these are some of the previous researches that really link to this. Now, financial constraints increases psychological distress among students. Lack of social support worsen the emotional vulnerability. And Berlin's competitive market rental also intensifies student stress. So, moving on to this, it's previous studies, like I suggest, are the most important factors that link us to this. In addition, researchers also found out that limited social support can make students more emotionally vulnerable and less capable to cope with challenges. In cases of Berlin, the highly competitive rental market has is what has really created this housing insecurity and among international students. Can we go to the next slide?
Okay.
Now let's look at the methodology. First of all, we have quantitative cross-section survey design, and we used a sample students of just around 6 to 10 students, and we had response from just around 6 students. That's why we have it over there. And we collected our data through questionnaire online. That is a Google form that we created and gave to the students, and they did their various answers and were able to generate what we have to do. We did analysis based on Pearson correlation and regression analysis, and that is how we came about our results. So this is the methods that we use. Okay, can we go to the next slide? Okay, so after we did the data analysis and everything, these are our key findings. And what we find out that, first of all, 68% of participants reported that their income was not sufficient to meet the cost of living in Berlin. Secondly, more than half of these respondents, specifically, let me say around 54% of these students reported experiencing moderate to severe psychological distress based on housing insecurity and financial pressure. This analysis really showed us the strong positive correlation between financial pressure and mental distress, with a correlation of 0.62. Okay. Furthermore, I think housing instability contributes to social isolation and anxiety. And I think students facing housing instability reported, I think, high levels of anxiety and social isolation compared to students living in more suitable housing. If you don't have a stable apartment or stable mind, how will you be able to even mingle with other students? So this is what we also got through our survey. Can we go to the next slide, please? So now, our statistical insight, Pearson correlation, we had a, um, a result of 0.62, which is equivalent to less than of 0.001. Now, high financial pressure predicts higher anxiety and depression. Subjective distress had strong impact than actual income levels, and non-EU students report financial significantly higher stress scores. Now, looking at this very closely, at the statistical results, the Pearson correlation coefficient was 0.62 with a significance level less than 0.001. This indicates a very strong statistics relationship between the financial and mental health difficulties. In simple terms, as your financial distress increases, the level of anxiety also really increases, which increase depression that tends to increase as well. Okay, so an interesting finding was that I think financial stress, meaning how stressed students felt about their financial situation, had greater impact on their mental health than the actual level of incomes, like I said. So this result shows us also that the non-EU students report significantly high stress scores, which may be related to visa requirements, financial obligations such as the maintaining the block account. So this is the statistics inside that we found. Now, can we go to the next slide? Now, after everything, this is the discussion that we have with other people. Housing insecurity causes chronic uncertainty and emotional exhaustion. Now, if you have a place that you have a limited time to stay, you will not have peace of mind because you know within this time your contract will be expiring. How are you going to get the next apartment? Because it's really difficult to come by apartment in Berlin. So these are some of the things that are really increase emotional distress. Now, financial stress affects concentration, sleep, and academic performance. Imagine you are owing school fees, and you know, Gizma usually, even I'm using Gizma as an example because this is where we are. You get school fees reminders in the dawn, late at night when you are sleeping, then you get a notification. Then imagine you don't have the money to pay. You just panic and you will not be able to sleep. These are some of the stress that most students have been going through, and you know, that's the financial aspects that really affects our mental health. Now, temporary house arrangement increase social isolation, like I mentioned earlier. If you are patching with a friend for a short period of time, you can't even have the concentration to have time to mingle with other people. You can't go out because you don't have peace of mind. So these are some of the discussions that we also have. Now, mental health challenges reduce overall student well-being. If you are not stable mentally, how can you perform academically? So this is what the discussions that we have so far. Can we go to the next one? Okay, so these are the recommendations that we had. We suggested that at least there should be affordable student apartment around that can help students to get more, peace of mind when it comes to housing security. There should be a provision for emergency financial aid and flexible grants in the country that can help, students in case they need to survive. At least they take this money, they pay their fees to other staffs. Then later, when they start working, they can be able to sort out this, emergency loans and other things. Because I know some countries have been doing it, but it's really rare in Berlin. Now, increasing multilingual counseling and support service. Since we came from different backgrounds, when we meet over here, definitely German is mainly important. So if we are able to, get people who will guide us through to focus more, I think it will really help. And also there should be a reform for the visa and block account financial requirements. They are really huge. And it's not everyone who gets the chance to. There should be, simple scholarships and other things that should help, and that will really help. So I think these are the recommendations that we had. Okay, so can we go to the next slide? So in conclusion, housing security and financial pressure are the major mental health risks among students in Berlin. Now, international students face unique structural and psychological barriers. Since they don't have the peace of mind, this is what they are going to face. Now, university and policymakers must take coordinated actions. They have to, communicate with, government institutions and other things to help provide accommodation and some soft ways to help students live a bit peacefully to be able to concentrate more on work, like on their education. Now, improve support system that can enhance academic success and well-being. Sometimes schools have to be a bit flexible to help students. I know they are trying their best, but the system should really help students because we are paying huge amounts of money, and most students are trying to pay by themselves. So there should be some bit of flexibility which will help everybody. All right, I think so. This is what we have.
Also,
Mhm.
also university should make some uh, courses for the students, like for their German language courses, and also some courses for their part-time jobs or mini jobs, like because of the references are very common in German. If you have any reference, then you can find a job easily. Uh, if you don't have any reference and you know anyone, then it's very difficult for the students. And universities also provide some accommodation, like hostels and etc., because it's very helpful for the students, and also in cheaper price, because some universities charges very high, like they charges around 650 to 700 euros, which is very high. For next slide, these are some references we use in our presentation, and also we uh, write link for the our survey. You can find easily how many students uh, contribute with us for this is our presentation, and if you have any question, please ask us. Thank you.
Thank you very much.